Shree Maathrey Namaha, with the divine blessings of our Mother Divine Lalita Mahatri Prasundari and Father Divine Lord Mahadeva. In the previous episode, we have discussed about the Chandala's interaction with Bhagvan Shankaracharya and how Shiva in the disguise of Chandala helped Shankaracharya come up with Manisha Panchakam and then gave his next set of commandments that Bhagwan Shankaracharya had to fulfill before his time on this planet was done. Now you might have a doubt that when Aryamba and Shivaguru were blessed, they were blessed to have a son of 80 years. But when looking at the intellectual prowess of the young brahmachari Shankara before sannyasam, when he said Kanakadhara, great saints like Agastya, Vishwamitra and the Saptarishis were so happy with the intellectual prowess and the Vedic knowledge of Shankara. They blessed him with another 80 years to accomplish and establish Sanatana Dharma on this planet. That is how his life was extended from 8 to 16, and when he approached his guru, and when Govindapada Acharya asked him to go to Kasi and Varanasi, he was 10 years old, and from Kasi, when Shankaracharya started to go to Badari Narayana in the Himalayas, he was 12 years old. When he went to Badari Narayana, he was summoned to Badari by none other than Veda Vyasa to initiate him to start writing the discourse on the Veda Sutras. Having gone to Badari, Bhagwan Shankaracharya started writing the Veda Sutras of Vyasa, which were decoded and simplified for all the ignorant folks like me also can understand by reading it. And when Shankaracharya translated them and simplified them to increase their reach to a common man, after accomplishing that at Badri, he returned to Kasi, and in Kasi, one of the first of the four significant devotees of Shankaracharya, Sanandana, started approaching Shankaracharya, and given his intellectual abilities, dedication to Guru and Guru Shushrusha, all the previous disciples who used to follow Shankaracharya started becoming jealous of Sanandana, and to show them his mettle, one day what Shankaracharya did was, when he was on the Satya Harishchandra Ghat and was going towards the Ganga banks, he saw Sanandana was on the other side of river Ganga, and looking at the Jagat Guru, Sanandana bowed down to the Guru on the other side of the bank, and Shankaracharya just raised his right hand and signaled Sanandana to come. Without even thinking for a second, Sanandana started walking on the river Ganges, and wherever he was about to set his foot, river Ganges floated a lotus, and therefore Sanandana became Padmapada. And this episode of absolute faith in Guru's words proved his dedication, his quality of Guru Sushrusha to all the other close to 6,000 saints that were following Shankaracharya wherever he went. And Sanandana, now becoming Padmapada, was the foremost of the disciples of Bhagwan Shankaracharya. Given the importance and significance of dualism during those days, where people used to think God is different and human or any being is different, Shankaracharya, wherever he set his foot, he became a terror to controversialists and conformists, and an object of adoration to all the devotees aspiring to realize the Brahma Jnanam. And given the young age of Shankaracharya, many of the established scholars who were physically much older than the young 12-year-old Bhagavad Pada, could not establish the fact in their minds that this young saint is the walking Shiva of Benares, and therefore they need to start taking refuge at his feet. Therefore they used to come with all kinds of controversies to fix Bhagavad Pada, but in no way. It's like trying to throw an arrow set on fire at sun. Whoever attempts that would be futile and would be a foolish attempt. And in the process, nobody ever even came to a distant closer in trying to insult Bhagwan Shankaracharya. As this continued, one day, on the banks of Varanasi, as Bhagwan Shankaracharya was doing the Purva Sandhya, the early morning Gayatri, he saw an old Brahmin approached him on the Manikarnika Ghat and asked some questions from the Brahma Sutras and the Veda Sutras that Bhagwan Shankaracharya has written, and what started as a discussion and a conversation became a full-fledged debate which continued for 18 days without water and food, and they were sitting on the banks of river Ganga on Manikarnika Ghat and continued to discuss with a smile. That intellectual debate continued for 18 days. Padmapada, who was a Narasimhopasaka, saw the signs of Vishnu Tattvam and Narayana Tattvam coming from that old Brahmin. So he bowed down to his Guru Shankaracharya and covering his lips and mouth at a distance, Padmapadacharya told his Guru, "Hey Bhagavan, I believe the old Brahmin who is sitting across you is none other than Veda Vyasa himself." When Shankaracharya heard this from his disciple, he immediately stood up and prostrated as sastangam to the old Brahmin, and Shankaracharya requested that old Brahmin, saying, "I think you are none other than the Vyasa Bhagavan himself who has come to test me. Can you please give me your expert opinion on whether I have done any justification in translating your magnum opus on Brahma Sutras and Veda Sutras?" Vyasa, looking at the humbleness, looking at the intellectual prowess and humility of Bhagwan Shankaracharya, hugged him and said, "You have done a fantastic job, my son, and you have accomplished what Shiva has asked." Then Shankaracharya turned to Vyasa and said, "O Guru, then my 16 years are coming to an end in 5 days. I wish to go back and become one with that Sadashiva Tattvam, if you allow me." To which Vyasa said, No, not yet. There are still many more misinformed gurus who need to be defeated, and therefore you need to live another 16 years with the blessings of none other than Mahamrityunjaya, Shiva," and smiled back at Shankaracharya. And Shankaracharya smiled back. The smiles meant that it is your sankalpam, O Mahamrityunjaya, that you need to live for another 16 years to clean and wipe clean the misinformed gurus who are continuing to focus on rituals alone without focusing on the impetus, on the Veda, on the backing of Veda. Therefore, please continue to live and walk on this planet for another 16 years when your mission will be accomplished. Saying this, Bhagavan Vyasa disappeared. Shankaracharya bowed to him with a smile, and with that we will conclude this episode. In the next episodes I will try to make an attempt of Shankaracharya Bhagavad-pada's life from 17th year onwards. Do take care, stay blessed. Shree Maathrey Namaha.